they're changing my voice. This is part 2 about Harvard. So there's several things I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we could, set up some new schools, maybe another black college, except for it's clearly an Ivy League college that's up to par with, Stanford and so on. Hispanic one, Native American, Pacific Islander, Middle Eastern people, anyone who might feel like they need more representation in the Ivy League school system. But first I want to make it clear that the last video was fair, right? This is part 2. For whatever, when it comes to people's ancestors, whatever their worth was is their worth. Okay, whatever the righteous man should think about him is what I think about him, right? Even right now, as people rebel, there's a part of them that's pretty good. They're still going to hell for rebelling, right? Rhyme and reason, right? Rebel and hell. Okay, and the word Baal is in the word rebel, and Baal is the main adversary of God in the Bible. When it comes to nerds, right, there's definitions of nerds. Some nerds are very toxic, very evil. Some nerds are very polite, very helpful, and I don't want people to confuse that at all. And that's why I took the time to make this part 2, even though I'm mad at people for cheating me and so on and so forth, but I treat people fairly no matter how I feel about it. Now, also I want to bring up that if I had a suitable helper, right, a beautiful woman helping me, a bunch of people who are very, very inclined to be polite, tell the truth about everything, it means that I have to say things that, hurt people's feelings, right? The word hurt is scrambled into the word truth, right? It hurts the T. The T is the feminine suffix, those who chose to embrace the earth, right? Mother Earth, what have you. Instead of doing what is right and putting God first. You can care about the earth, but you have to put God first and not be an earth hugger. Someone afraid to be virtuous and to stand for what's right. That's basically how I define an earth hugger. They're just trying to survive, trying to derive pleasure from being in this world. They're kind of like a baby that just wants its way instead of wanting to, instead of putting what is right first. Okay, so with the suitable helper, with the, a sort of moral committee making videos with me, they would then clarify these things. And I'd say, yes, absolutely, you got that right. And other people can hear what the opinions of people who are trying to clarify things, who are concerned with their feelings, not being hurt, what have you, and that'll help them understand that what I'm doing is right. So now in regards to Harvard, right, how many of you can name 10 people, 10 famous people off the top of your head that went to Harvard, or Stanford, or Yale, or Dartmouth, or Princeton, or Cambridge? It's very difficult, right? When you go to the doctor's office, you go to a lawyer's office, maybe you see a certificate, but you don't remember. I don't remember. You probably don't remember. The brain surgeons that worked for my father, I don't know what schools they went to. Most of the politicians, you don't know. What school did Donald Trump go to? Vance. Okay. Ilhan Omar. Like, we remember Obama went to Harvard because they emphasize it because people are racist. But other than that, so many people are racist, we'll say. Other than that, we don't really know. It doesn't matter that much. It's like having a designer purse. Who cares who has a designer purse? So people, because of their parents, when I was younger, I had the same kind of issues, right? My parents put a lot of pressure on me. My father's a brain surgeon. My mother's a doctor too. My mother was a National Merit Scholar. Okay, my father's brother, both my father's brothers, very successful. One's a lawyer, one's a doctor. And the lawyer who passed away, he graduated top of his class at, valedictorian at both Berkeley Law, I believe it is, and Santa Clara University, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly one of them at least, but I'm pretty sure it was both of them. Okay, valedictorian. He was extremely into going the distance to get good grades. He would go the distance to perfect his tactics in regards to getting all A's. And of course, my father's Nigerian, both his brothers are Nigerian. My mother's sister is a doctor and her brother is a scientist. So there was an enormous amount of pressure on me And they would say, hey, you're going to go to Harvard. No, he's going to go to Yale. Well, we'll let him decide. And stuff like this, right? And so that is significant here. However, having not gone to those places, I don't care. At some point in my 20s, I clearly decide, hey, I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. The people who go to those places often are snobs, right? They're like, it's like a coffee snob, but it's like an educated snob. They put their nose up at you. One time I went there into Stanford, right? And the Igbos there, which my father's tribe had their own club at the time, right? Not only was there like a black student union or something, there probably was something like that, but there was an Igbo club of Stanford students specifically, because that's how commonly Nigerians, Igbos, historically, get to these places. And if they stop going to these places, then there was sabotage, right? The die is cast. They've defined themselves as that type of people, right? Now, when they said, what school do you go to? At the time, I was going to De Anza Community College, right? So I was like, De Anza. And they like froze for a second. They're like, De Anza? Where is that, right? And you could see that they were like, maybe not disappointed, but their opinion of me changed, right? And they made some excuse and they kind of walked away, right? To talk to someone else. I was snobbed by people who are beneath me in reality. And I say it that way so you understand the reality, not to be some snob myself or something. I'm not a snob. Not arrogant, not cocky, not pretentious, not pompous. So, even though I am the King of Kings, they thought they were too good for me, too good to talk to me. And these are the type of women probably sleep around with guys who get into these schools and they think that it's smart and they think they feel included and go, oh, they gossip. They're stupid. They're like sorority people or something. Those particular two females. And, it's because of this superficial, a college, right? You may as well be talking about your high school or your grade school or your junior high. Who cares what college you went to? Someone who went to these colleges isn't the smartest person ever lived. I am. They're not the wisest person ever lived. I am. And their lack of insight and sense and wisdom is clear these days, isn't it? As artificial intelligence came about, as people have their brains hacked, as people have committed to cults and are sex slaves and don't have the courage to have the intelligence to be wise, to make the right decision.